The Chargers, more than anyone else, will have random players score touchdowns. It has been the bane of fantasy owners' existence for almost a decade now.
Tom, I know that you had a few bets that you were pretty hot on entering the preseason. Again, it's never too early. What were some of the ones that piqued your interest?
So one of my favorites is arguably the top fantasy football player, the number one overall pick in a lot of leagues. Guy I'm looking at is Jamar Chase. Oftentimes, a lot of people are scared off of betting favorites, but Jamar Chase is a guy that's worth taking a shot on again this year. He led the league last year with 17 receiving touchdowns, and again, he is the favorite to do so at plus 700. In 2024, he finished with 17 touchdowns, and he played every game with Joe Burrow. Okay, so in his rookie year, he scored 13 times in 17 games with Burrow. In 2022, he scored 9 touchdowns in just 12 healthy games. In his third season, he scored 7 touchdowns in 16 games, but he only played 10 games with Joe Burrow. Extrapolated over 17 games, that would be 12 touchdowns. So if you like history, Jamar Chase is on a historical pattern. There's only 2 wide receivers who have scored more touchdowns in their first 4 NFL seasons, and those names are Randy Moss and a guy by the name of Jerry Rice. So he's in rare air, and there's no reason to not believe that he can do it again and lead a league in touchdowns. If you want to take a long shot in the category, I'd recommend Drake London in Atlanta. He was one of 3 players to average over 12.5 yards per reception, and the other 2 players on the list were Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson.
Jacob, I want to throw it over to you and your thoughts on Jamar Chase and that bet. And I also want to ask you this. How do you feel like T. Higgins' contract might play into the target share in Cincinnati? And do you think that's a safe bet?
So I'll go ahead and say I don't think T. Higgins' contract is going to really play a big role in how these 2 receivers are viewed. They're kind of 1A and 1B. T. Higgins is really their number 2 receiver, but, for so many other teams, he would be the top option. But Jamar Chase has a special chemistry with Joe Burrow. That doesn't figure to change. And the other thing about the Bengals is they figure to once again be a top volume passing offense in the NFL. Last year, Joe Burrow led the league in passing attempts. Part of that was because their defense was so leaky that they had to win these really high scoring games. So, we expect the defense to take a small step forward, but I'm not sure that the defense is going to be a world beating unit. So they're going to rely on Burrow to throw a lot. So as long as the Bengals are continuing to throw and Jamar Chase is on the field, he is going to get a lot of opportunities to score. So I'm right there with you, Tom. I think over 10.5, it feels easy. I know that injuries can make that a little bit scary, but that feels easy. And at the odds to, take home the league touchdown crown, I would trust him in that. Even if he's the favorite, you're not going to get better odds than that throughout the season.
So moving on, it feels like defensive ends and edge rushers have been the talk of the offseason between Shamar Stewart, Trey Hendrickson, Micah Parsons. Tom, I know one of your favorite bets is TJ Watt and over 11.5 sacks this season. Why are you picking that bet?
Yeah, so TJ Watt is one of those guys who has gotten paid. He and Myles Garrett, those are the 2 guys who have secured long-term deals with their teams, and they're happy. And TJ Watt's going to be on the field. He's practicing. He's with his team. There's a lot of juice right now in Pittsburgh with Rodgers in town. So statistically, though, Watt has exceeded 11.5 sacks in 5 of his last 6 healthy seasons. He's exceeded this line. He tied Strahan's sack record of 22.5 back in 2021, and he played just 15 games that year. I think the door is wide open for him to really live up to this contract this year. His main competition to me is Aiden Hutchinson in Detroit, but I like Hutchinson more as a comeback player of the year award candidate than I do for him to lead a league in sacks.
Jacob, let's go over to you. A plus 700. Do you think TJ Watt at over 11.5 sacks is a good bet?
I think the over 11.5 sacks, I'm with you on that one, because TJ Watt during his NFL career to date has averaged 0.89 sacks per game. So you're talking about to get to 11.5, he'd have to play probably 14, 15 games and produce at the level we've seen him produce in previous seasons. And I think that if he plays a full season, he could get up towards that 15 number. So I like the over there. I'm a little bit more apprehensive about betting him to lead the league in sacks, just because sacks can be a little bit unpredictable. And I think that Micah Parsons probably ends up on the field. And just for my money right now, He is the most explosive pass rusher in the league. So if he gets out there, he could have 20 sacks this season. And you mentioned Aiden Hutchinson. I think because he has had so long to recover from that nasty leg injury, I think he could come out of the gate really fast like he did last year. So between those two guys, I'm a little bit less in on betting Watt to lead the league in sacks, but certainly going over 11 and a half, that's something that I think if he stays on the field, he should be able to do.
So let's head out west. And if there's any two things that Jim Harbaugh, coach of the Los Angeles Chargers, loves, it's khakis and running the football. And famously, the Chargers this season, the 2025 NFL Draft, selected Omarion Hampton, running back, with their first-round pick. And Tom, this is kind of a sexy pick. It's a little out there, but Offensive Rookie of the Year, Omarion Hampton. What are your thoughts on why you think that's a good bet?
Yeah, so Ashton Genty is obviously the more well-known name, especially in fantasy circles. And he is the co-favorite, Genty is, with Cam Ward, the number 1 overall pick in Tennessee. This award, the Offensive Rookie of the Year award, has become a quarterback award, similar to the MVP award. The last running back to win the award was Saquon Barkley in 2018 with the New York Giants. But Hampton's in a great spot. You can't really argue against it right now. There wasn't really many other offenses a rookie running back could step right into and just take over the lead role. And now one of the Chargers' biggest free agent signings was running back Najee Harris, a former Pittsburgh Steelers running back. And he suffered an accident, a fireworks accident on 4th of July. So his playing status is pretty uncertain right now. So the running back room is Hampton's right now in a Greg Roman run offense. So now Hampton finds himself right there, and there's plenty of value because if Genty were to be injured or if Cam Ward ends up struggling in that Tennessee offense, the door is wide open for Hampton to take this award.
Jacob, tell us, do you think this is a safe bet with Omarion Hampton potentially winning Offensive Rookie of the Year, plus 900?
So I can see the upside with the 9-1 odds on that, but I can't get behind it. Tom, you've made a great case, but I am just looking at what Jim Harbaugh and Greg Roman did last year at the goal line as a reason that I'm just sort of not wanting to get involved in this. They really split up goal line carries between J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, and Hassan Haskins. I understand if Harris doesn't play the start of the season, yeah, Hampton's going to get more opportunities. But if Harris is healthy, he's there, Hassan Haskins is there, they're all there to vulture touchdowns. And look, the Chargers more than anyone else will have random players score touchdowns. It has been the bane of fantasy owners' existence for almost a decade now. I just think that the potential lack of touchdown opportunities for Hampton could be problematic because the last 5 running backs to win Offensive Rookie in the Year all had at least 10 total touchdowns. I think Hampton can get to that number, but if he's vultured one too many times, it's going to be hard for him to keep pace with a workhorse like Genty.
All right, guys, let's move over to the fantasy side of this discussion, and let's talk sleepers, right? Everybody this time of year is gearing up for fantasy drafts if they haven't had them already, and they're all looking to sleepers. Now, Jacob, you kind of lit our team's chat on fire when you called one Dakota Rain Prescott, Dak Prescott, a sleeper pick at quarterback. Can you please explain your logic and to tell us why we shouldn't throw you off this video right now?
Yeah, I understand that that's probably a little bit bolder of a pick right now. Prescott's really being drafted around quarterback 12 to 14 after his disappointing season last year. He's coming off a hamstring tear, but in the games he played last year, Prescott threw the ball a lot. And the big issue with him was he just wasn't producing touchdowns. He averaged only 1.5 touchdowns per game in his action last season. If you look at the Cowboys offense now, they have CD Lamb. He's not holding out like he was last season. He should be healthier after his shoulder injury. They traded for George Pickens, so now they have another big body contested catch red zone weapon. But the big thing that I look at is this running game does not profile as one that's going to be very good. You have Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, and rookies Jaden Blue and Phil Maffa, who are day 3 picks, battling for the lead running back job. So Prescott's going to be asked to throw the ball a lot. And I think if you see some positive touchdown regression, if he could even get back to 1.8, 1.9 touchdown per game, even 2 touchdowns per game, you're talking about a definite top 10 quarterback season and maybe in the top 5. So there's a lot of reasons to kind of bank on a bounce back season from Prescott.
And Tom, one of your favorite picks for sleeper was in a fantasy wasteland, like you like to call it, is Dalton Kincaid, tight end for the Buffalo Bills. Now, why are you picking Kincaid here for a sleeper pick, Tom?
So tight ends it's a position where if you're not going to invest early in the position, you're better off waiting. It's just like the quarterback position, in my opinion. If you're not going to take a shot at one of the earlier guys in the draft, you might as well wait and take some sleeper picks like a Dak Prescott. Big things were expected for the 2023 first rounder, and a lot of people are ready to put Kincaid in that Kyle Pitts bucket of bust. They're both first round picks, and they haven't broken out. But the thing about the tight end position is that guys like Brock Bowers and Sam Laporta, the last 2 seasons, first round tight ends, they're the rarity. Tight ends typically take until year 3 or 4 to break out and really carve out a role in an offense. And Kincaid is that guy this year. This offense with Josh Allen, I'm willing to take a shot on Kincaid late in a draft when nobody else wants to. All he needs to do is score more touchdowns, and he's going to finish as a top 10 tight end.
Moving on to the ground game, Travis Etienne has been something of a fixture in Jacksonville since he was drafted. But Jacob, I know you like Tank Bigsby as a sleeper pick. Can you tell us why?
I do. I'm really warming up to Bigsby right now. And I'm kind of surprised by this, but when I was doing my research for fantasy sleepers, I looked at Bigsby's numbers, and he averaged 2.8 yards after contact last season. That was tied for best in the NFL with Derrick Henry. So you understand that, hey, this guy's big, this guy's physical, he should be able to generate a lot of yards after contact. But why didn't he reach 1,000 rushing yards last season? Part of the issue was he was splitting carries with Etienne, but the bigger issue was the Jacksonville line in front of him didn't block well. So if Bigsby can continue to produce at the rate that he did last season with better blocking, I think there's a chance he could average 5 yards per carry. And if he gets 200 carries on the season, then you're talking about 1,000-yard season. And he's going to be the preferred goal line option there because of his physicality. So I think he's a touchdown plus, and, just that potential. If the Jaguars blocking improves, they sign Patrick McCary, that should help them a little bit. There's a lot of things to like about Bigsby in that offense.